All right, let's bring in Tim Doyle. He's got the hammer out. It is now a best of 5, and Boston, despite that loss, Tim, they still have home court advantage now because they took one of those two. The series prices are pretty even right now. Warriors a little bit more costly at $1.15. What are you liking?
Well, if you like Golden State, maybe you missed the boat there because you could have got them at massive plus odds, almost 2-1 before game number 2. But I had picked the Celtics in 6. I thought that they would get a win on the road in San Francisco. And the way I bet this series, Hassel, was simple. I took a fixed amount of money. For me, 3 kids in a minivan, maybe a couple $100. For Tommy Tran, maybe 2,000 or 3,000. I bet the Celtics on the money line in game 1. And I said if they lost, you follow back up again in game number 2. Well, they won game number 1, and I really didn't know what to do in game number 2. I thought they were going to score above 100 points. They were 105.5 to be exact. That went way under. The referees were letting these guys play. How did Draymond Green not get ejected in this game? I mean, falling on top of Jaylen Brown, it was like, this was one of these games that, it's good for business that the Warriors won. The series gets extended now to Boston, but the Celtics, this is a game 3 that they're supposed to win, but all series long, all playoffs long, it feels like the games they're supposed to win, they lose, and the games they're supposed to lose, they win. Dominant third quarter from Golden State. That's been their MO for 6 out of the 8 years, and they made the NBA Finals.
Yeah, they need 6 or 7 more threes from Al Horford maybe to get back on the winning track in this. We're going to get your pick for Game 3 on Wednesday in just a second, but let's look at the updated odds for Finals MVP. Steph is the favorite, minus 105. Slightly shorter odds than Jason Tatum, plus 115. And then it's Jaylen Brown at 800. The guys on the right-hand side of the screen, huge drop to them. And, Tim, you do hold a ticket for Marcus Smart, who was once upon a time 40-1, now 65-1.
Hassel, he was 40-1 before game 1, then 18-1 before game 2. So I'm going to jump back in again at 65-1. You see, both these guys were outstanding in game number 1, and that's really going to be the difference in the series, right? Whoever you're betting to win the MVP, you're betting on that team to win the series. So I am betting on the Celtics to win this series. And if you dive into Marcus Smart's defense, check out what Klay Thompson has done in this series. Hasn't done much. I think he's still alive and kicking. Boston, in my eyes, was the most balanced team left in the entire NBA going into the postseason. And when they have won games, it hasn't just been Jason Tatum going out there and getting 30-plus points. He's had that supporting cast. So I expect the Celtics to win this series. And Marcus Smart maybe take a page from Andre Iguodala when he won the Finals MVP instead of Steph Curry a couple of years ago when he sort of kind of locked up LeBron and did enough on the offensive end. I think Marcus Smart can affect the game in multiple ways, not just scoring the basketball. So 65-1, I'll take those odds.
Jeez, all right. So you got 2 tickets now, 40-1 and a 65-1 for Marcus Smart to win MVP. Game 3, you mentioned Boston expected to win this game. They are 3.5-point favorites. What's your early lean here?
They were up 5 in the second quarter, and Warriors called the timeout, and Andre Iguodala spoke to his squad. Now, he didn't play in this game. He didn't dress. Gary Payton Jr. dressed. And he said, boys, we're only down 5. We're not down 15. Now, what Boston did was they gave this game away, Chris, on a silver platter. They gave away 18 points off of turnovers in the first half. And Coach Udoka said at halftime, he goes, they give away 18 points to the Warriors. You're not going to win too many games. I just thought they were extremely sloppy. 19 total turnovers. They shot sub 40% from 2-point range. And you see this year that following a loss, they have rebounded. And I really think that just comes down to focus. They just look like they were like, all right, we're good. Like, we won game 1, game 2, whatever. Like, we got home court advantage right now. Can they flip the switch? Ultimately, they have. They have won postseason games at these places, okay? Brooklyn, tough place to play. Giannis, twice. Brooklyn, twice. Miami, twice. And then they won at Golden State, where the Warriors had not lost a home game all postseason long. So I think they're going to be much better at home. I think they're going to get the benefit of some of those calls. They need to stay aggressive. When they're going east and west, sideline to sideline, I think the Warriors got them where they want to be. They need to keep attacking north and south, put the pressure on those referees to make those calls and get to the free throw line.
All right, minus 160 on the money line is the pick for Game 3 from Tim Doyle. Does not want to give those 3.5 points. We're looking at a back and forth series here because neither team, you saw the numbers on Boston after a loss, they're 6-0 straight up and against the spread. Warriors are exactly the same thing. They have not lost back-to-back games either. How about a Celtics team prop in Game 3?
Coming into game number 2, Hassel, they have gone 107 points or more in the 3 previous meetings against the Warriors. And they were on that path. They scored 40 points the first 18 minutes of the game. And then the last 30 minutes, they scored around 40 points. So they just stopped scoring the basketball. I'm going to go back to the well, and I'm going to go with Jason Tatum under his point prop. I think that they're going to get a more balanced affair. He was great following a poor performance. He has mastered this. He did it against Milwaukee when he had 10. He followed up with 30. He did it against Miami when he had 10. He followed up with 30. And then another massive performance yesterday. Even though his point props dropped from 28.5 to 26.5, he still went over that number. For Boston to go out and win this series, especially at home, who plays better at home? Role players, right? Like the guys who get to sleep in their bed with their SpongeBob pillow, maybe put a little mayonnaise under the eyes. That's how I stay young. And then you get that comfortability of being at home, making shots. I think they're going to get some more calls from the officials. I just thought that game was slightly tilted towards the Warriors refereeing, and rightfully so. They deserve that. They're at home. They've won 6 titles in 8 years, but it's going to be a great environment there in Boston. I think that Tatum's going to get help. Remember, he had a bunch of assists, 13 in game number 1. So I'm going to go under Jason Tatum in his point prop, but I like the Celtics to win this game.
And the Celtics to go over the team total prop as well, 107.5. That's another pick from Tim. You mentioned Klay Thompson, and his struggles continue. I mean, take out that great performance in the closeout game a little while ago against the Mavs, and he's only reached 20 points once in the last 7 games, and that was the only time he did it. He's been under his total 2/3 of all games in the postseason. Tim, right now Caesars isn't even listing a total points prop for Klay Thompson in Game 3.
Yeah, because I have been just hammering the under in this spot. Why? Because when we think back to Klay Thompson, we think about some of the ex-loves in our life. I'm sure there was once a Chris Hassel running around St. Ambrose University and nowhere's where Iowa, right? And you had these love affairs that your first thought. You have these great memories, right? Klay Thompson, 60 points on 8 dribbles against the Bulls. Like you remember Hassel, like flying the kite down by Lake Michigan, or maybe even the tandem bicycle ride. There's always great memories, a great reminiscence of old former loves of ours, right? Until you find like the bunny on the front step. Okay, I don't want to get into any of that, but the thing with Klay is like we remember how great he was. He's not the same guy anymore, Chris. He simply is not him. And I know it's hard to admit, but we grew up in an era, all of us loving sports, when the Warriors were dominant, and this guy was one of the best shooting guards in the NBA. Sure, he has blips. He goes share, he turns back time, and he has that massive game, and he's probably going to have one of these in the finals. But man, 12 times in the postseason, under 20 points. So I have been hammering this under. And think back, your first thought of your ex is usually pretty positive. And then you really start. And that's why they're exes, because they're no longer in the picture. So I love you, Klay, but if we were in a relationship on Facebook, it would just say it's complicated.
Tim, did you just compare Klay Thompson to a dead bunny on your front stoop?
That was just an old ex-girlfriend. I think it was just a joke she was playing, Chris. I think it was just a joke.
Dead old ex-girlfriend? It's getting worse for you, Tim. Let's just move on. Steph Curry's over-under point total, 28.5, and he's been over that in both games so far this series.
Chris, you see this guy right here? This guy was a boy, a ball, and a dream, okay? This guy right here, check out the shorts, huh? Champion, old school. By the way, who was cutting my hair at the time? I mean, what is that? Long on the side, short up top? This guy was not a smart man, okay? This guy is a smart man. And I bet Steph Curry over the first 2 games of the series. What's happened? It's gone over. So, sometimes you just have to go like this. Steph Curry. And when you watch the Warriors, he has to go out there and set a tone, scoring the basketball, being aggressive. He actually got off to a really slow start in game number 2, was able to flip that switch. He's gonna have a Luka-like series. I think he's gonna get 30 plus every single game going forward. So I'm just gonna keep pounding this over time and time again. And you know what the scary part is about this guy right here? This kid was just a boy, a ball, and a dream. But Hassel, I don't know if you know this about me. I was 6 foot in 6th grade, and I was still scared of the thunder. So like when it would rain and thunder, I would like jump in bed with my parents, but it was like a grown human, like jumping in bed with my parents. Like I didn't know this was going to all of a sudden turn into a therapy session, but that kid was just a kid. And now this man is still a broken man.
I'm just glad you got into sports and basketball and got into shape. I mean, you slimmed up there. You grew up and you slimmed out. You're a big kid. Timmy Doyle with us here, looking to win big money on HQ with his golden hammer. He loves the Celtics still to win this series. The Finals MVP pick. I mean, he's doubling down. He took Marcus Smart 40-1 to go into the series. He's now 65-1. And he says he's getting another ticket at 65-1 for Marcus Smart to win it. Boston money line in Game 3, not the points. Over team total for Boston, 107 and a hook. And then you have the player props as well for Jason Tatum and Steph Curry.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.